be somewhere. Wait,
He
James.
literally never records.
Did we turn the camera on that time?
No, we didn't.
So, yeah, due to high demand of people asking us to get our shit together, we finally had to get our shit together.
I know, I hate that.
It's so annoying, like.
Dreadful.
We're getting there. We're on Instaface and on all of the other brands.
Yep.
And if you want to find out what we're mediating socially, you can find it.
You can find us there. We're under Candlelit Tales, just generally. We
Good.
found a name and we stuck to it.
We have a podcast now.
We do.
This year we started the podcast.
It is called the Candlelit Tales podcast. We actually started it last year, Aron.
No.
In November.
Do we?
Yeah, we did.
I mean, within a year.
I do that a lot.
Technicality.
Oh yeah, there's a book over here if you want to find out what we're doing. We've loads coming up. September's like, this is our calm month. It is a changing season. We don't have a huge amount. October, November is mental. We've loads of stuff coming up and mad cool festivals in Puka and down in Cork and Dublin and stuff. So if you want to know about what's going on in the mythic, mighty world of magic, find out by getting an email from us once a month with a list of cool stuff.
And in order to do that, you must write your email in the book over there.
Over there. Right next to
And
the
beside
brain.
that is the very important little bucket. Yes, it says donations on it. Just in case anybody feels like being a little bit sound
Extra sound.
and showing us a little bit of money. You can. We don't. It's not an obligation.
No.
Just like
No.
no.
Absolutely not.
Just like, you know, in the ancient days, if poets were ever underpaid or underfed or underwater, they'd write a satire about people and they'd come out in blisters and boils.
Yeah.
Not that we would ever.
No.
We would never.
No.
There would never be any need.
No.
That's always full by the end of the night. So.
Yeah, so just keep it in mind. Right. Al's down the back. Yes, remember that.
Yeah,
Check
yeah.
out his beautiful painting. Thanks, Al.
The original.
The original is down there. No, that's his.
You know, right?
Yeah.
Name.
But he appreciates the laughter because that's what the whole point was. It's a good joke.
No, he's crying inside.
I'm a serious artist.
We're all serious artists. We're all very serious. Says it in wild appeal in his face. Right, will we start the show song? Yeah. She's
You don't get a vote.
You don't get a vote. She plays with us too much. She's not allowed to vote. Alright.
Yeah, get on with that.
Okay. So the first story, well, it's a story you might have heard before. It's called The Lady of Gallerus. Because this story takes place in a place called Gallerus. It was down in Kerry. A man named Dick Fitzgerald, well, he was a fisherman. And he wasn't a very wealthy man, but he'd heard the legends and the folklore, and he knew all about the merrows. And he knew if you stole a merrow cap, you might even get a wife. And so he was always bright-eyed and looking around the place to see if he could get a merrow wife. You know the way you would be when you're on the coast of Ireland, the wind is blowing into you. Very bright-eyed. Not catching fish. It's great. So he was looking out one day, and there, Jesus, I couldn't believe it. There was a woman on her ass with green hair, fishy looking tail on her, and she was combing her beautiful green hair, and the sunlight was shining on her head so nicely. Jesus, it was like butter melting off cabbage. It was just gorgeous. And well, she swam in the water, and then she got out, and didn't she take off her cap? And with that, she was walking on the land as well as you or I. And she left down the red cap, and she walked around a bit of a place, you know, stretched the legs out, do a bit of yoga or something. She didn't know what she was doing. Very foreign in those lands, sort of Kerry. And he crept up behind her, grabbed the cap, said, I've your selkie, I've your merrow cap now. And she turned around. She said, damn it. He said, right, I've your merrow cap, and now you've to be my wife. Isn't that right? Because that's the way it goes. Would you like to be my wife? I mean, is it okay? Like, he was a bit awkward over him, and she was very pretty. And she looked at him and she said, you know what? If I go back down Underway, my father, the king of Underway, will have me married off to one of the merrow men. And let me tell you, the merrow men are small and fat and red, and their eyes are too close together, and they're squinting all of the time. I don't really like the look of them, to be honest. And And even though you're a big, hairy, Kerryman, you're better than that, trust me. So, she agreed, and they walked up the road, and he said, look, now we'll have to be good and proper, we'll have to be married now. The priest will have to say the word and all the right things. The village will have, my mammy will have to come as well. You know, we'll do it right. You know, it was a bit weird with the cap, but we'll do it right. Because he was from Kerry and he wanted to do things right. It's very important too. God bless them. Anyway. So they went up to the church and the priest was there. And, well, the priest, once he found out that Dick Fitzgerald wanted to marry a merrow, he said, no, no, you can't be doing that now. It's a fish, you can't marry a fish. You can't marry a fish, no, Dick, come on, it's not right. And Dick Fitzgerald said, I know, but like she's good and she's proper and she's comely and she's very elegant. And look at her now, she's walking around the place and I have her cap. She's not really a fish anymore. Like, he said, no, she's absolutely not, no. She was once a fish, she's a fish, you can't be marrying a fish. You know what I mean? It's in the eyes of God, this is all wrong. And Dick Fitzgerald said, God, well, like, you know, she's the daughter of the King of Underwave, and they have riches galore, and sure they could make a big contribution, and well, like, you know, might be well worth doing it. Yeah, doesn't the church need a new roof after all? And the priest said, well, I suppose she doesn't really have to be a fish anymore, you know. Sure, it'd be great, really. I suppose even if she was 10,000 times a fish, if you love her, that's the most important thing, isn't that right? In the eyes of God, that's all that really matters. How much should be going to give it? So they were married anyway, it was all great. A few years went by and well, she popped out kids like no tomorrow, and it was going great really, and she was great for Dick Fitzgerald because for many reasons. Actually, that's it. Now, no, moving along. She was great for many things in the bedroom and outside it, and she brought great prosperity to the land. The whole town of Gollers was going great because she was just great at everything. Basically, she became known as the Lady of Gollers because she kind of told people what they should do and how to do it a bit better, and she brought great luck to people. And well, she brought great luck to Dick Fitzgerald as well, and he became wealthy after a while, and their kids were growing up, and well, he used to go off into the towns and sell lots of fish, and he'd be gone for a long time. One time when he was gone for quite a long time, and she was doing spring cleaning, and she was really giving it a deep clean this time. She was getting in there, all the nooks and crannies, and didn't she turn up? A little red cap. She said, look at that, I remember this. Now she caught a hold of her eldest daughter. She said, look at me now. Take care of Dick, and your brothers, and your sisters. I'm going to go for a walk, and you're not going to see me ever again. And when the Lady of Gollers, she ran off with the merrow cap, she jumped in the sea, and when Dick Fitzgerald came back, he hadn't a notion where she was gone.
It's all about the red cap. She's not the red cap. Back to the ocean. I don't know that she changed that much in that story though, really. It's like she's a merrow.
I mean, she changed.
She just had to breathe the underwater red cap.
Then she changed.
It's not a real transformation.
I mean,
It's not a total transformation.
it was transforming.
It was very figurative. I don't think it's up to scratch. I think I'll tell you a different story where there's actually things changing into things in this story. Proper transformation. It's not like that. Nonsense.
They liked it.
Of course they liked it. They forgot what the show was called. Anyway, this story. Yeah, no, it's not
Don't
personal.
take personally. It's tough when you have a sister. Like
No.
It's like,
Nothing personal at all.
yeah.
Yeah. He takes it well though, doesn't he? So this story takes place over in Scotland. There was a king of Scotland, and what he was called is not important. What's important is that he was a king over 7 kings, and he gathered together all of the kings that were under him to have a great ceilidh, to have a great meeting, and to have a great discussion. They were building treaties and they were making deals. And all of them brought their heirs along with them, 7 kings' sons and 7 kings in the one hall under the High King. And it was the middle of summertime, and it was hot, and it was sweltering, and the king's sons started to get bored. All these talks of treaties and all these talks of trade, they started to just kind of do that thing the young fellas do where they start kicking each other under the table and saying which one will break first. And scuffles started breaking out in the corners, and it was getting very disruptive to this nice peaceful atmosphere the High King was trying to create. So he called on his spear bearer, Donal, and he said, Donal, will you take them out and let them run around on the hills and do a bit of hunting, do a bit of fishing, get some of this steam blown off them and bring them back when they're calm and tired out and they won't be causing so much trouble. So Donal took the 7 king's sons out. And they were looking for trouble. And they found it. But it wasn't what they thought. Down by the shore they saw a beautiful white horse grazing. And nothing would do the 7 king's sons but they get up on the back of that horse. Now, the shield bearer Donal, he noticed a very strange thing, which was that one king's son got up on the back of the horse, and a second one did too, and that was fine and that was normal, but then a third and a fourth got up on the back of the same horse. They all fitted quite comfortably, and he started to think, well, that's a bit weird. And then all 7 of them were up on the back of the same white horse, and he thought, well, that's definitely not right. And then the horse tossed its head and gave a little neigh and started to trot directly at the waves. And Donal leapt after it, but he was too late. He couldn't get up on the back of the horse, all he could do was slap a hand onto his flank. And as soon as he did, his hand stuck fast. No matter how hard he tried to pull it away, he was dragged along with the white horse. And all of the king's 7 sons were shrieking now, but none of them could get down off the white horse. They were all stuck fast. And the horse started to walk out over the waves, faster and faster, galloping towards a great whirlpool that swirled out there by an island. And Donal pulled out his sword and he chopped off his own hand at the wrist. But he couldn't do anything about the 7 kings' sons, because that white horse galloped straight out to sea and dove straight down into the dark heart of a whirlpool. And Donal came back, dripping with seawater and with blood, into the hall of the High King. And he told them the story. And the druid of the High King Dol, he said, that creature that took the 7 sons of the 7 kings, that was the Kelpie. And there is no power that I can muster that would go up against the Kelpie, for he is ancient and wicked and terrible. And if he's taken those 7 boys down into the heart of the ocean, there's nothing I can do to get them back. But they begged him to try. So Dol said, all right, I'll try. But we're going to have to wait until Samhain, until the night of greatest power. I'll do everything I can, but I'm telling you now, I don't think I'm up to it. I'm old and I'm nearly blind and there's just not much I can do. But whatever I can do, I'll give it a go. Now, near to that place, there was a young woman. And she heard that the king's 7 sons were missing, but this wasn't much skin off her nose. She didn't have much to do with kings and sons of kings. She had her own troubles. And her main troubles were other people. Specifically her mother, who was pestering her to get married, which she didn't want to do. And so what she used to do instead of meeting all the young men that her mother wanted her to meet and interviewing them for the position of husband was go walking along by the seashore. And as she walked, she used to sing songs of her own composition, sing them out to the waves and the gulls. And one day, as she was walking along the seashore, she saw a beautiful man come walking towards her. Stunning. Dark hair, dark eyes, white skin. And he was weeping, the tears running down his face. And as she came close to him, he said, I heard your singing and it touched my heart, and I haven't been able to stop crying since. And so she reached out her hand and she wiped the tears from his face. And one of his tears fell from her finger and landed on her breast. And in that instant, as if by magic, she fell in love with this strange man. They spent all day together. But before the sun set, he had to leave her. And he asked her to come back to the ocean the second day. And the next day she came back. And he was there again. They spent the day together, walking, talking, making love on the sand. But again, he left before nightfall. And for weeks, this was how they spent their time. She would come down to the sea at the first light. He would come to meet her. They would spend the whole day together, but never the night. Always, before it got dark, he would be gone. And then the day came, where he was very tired. They'd just made love. It had been a strenuous one. And he said he was going to go to sleep, but he asked her to wake him up before the sunset. And she said she would, but he just looked so nice, sleeping there, all sweet. So she didn't. She just kind of cuddled up, little spoon, and went to sleep herself. And when she woke up, she was very uncomfortable. It took her a second to figure out why. Her whole back was wet. There was something digging into her side, and something else digging into her leg. And when she looked around, she saw not her beautiful, handsome lover in whose arms she had fallen asleep, but a great, big, horrible-looking seahorse. That is, a horse that kind of looked like it was made out of seaweed and old bones. Now, as soon as she saw the Kelpie in his true form, for that is indeed who this was, whether in the form of a beautiful white horse or a beautiful man, or his true form as this hideous seaweedy creature, that love spell he put on her, the love spell that is in the tear of a Kelpie, well, it turned and twisted back around, and it landed in on the Kelpie's heart. And even as she ran away from him, he woke up, and he was madly in love with this mortal woman. But of course, now that she'd seen that he was really a big, hideous seaweed horse, she didn't want to go down and spend time with him anymore. So the Kelpie used to walk along the seashore, crying out in grief. And the young woman stayed well away from him. However, even though she hadn't much interest in kings and sons of kings, she had heard that the 7 sons of the 7 kings had been kidnapped by a Kelpie. And she thought, well, 2 Kelpies in the one place would be a bit too much of a coincidence. So one day, and it happened to be the day just before Samhain Eve, she went down to the shore where the Kelpie was walking and lamenting and begging her to take him back and saying, look at the tears rolling down my cheeks, would you not wipe them away for me? But of course she knew better now. So she said, no, I will not. And he said, please, I'll do anything. She said, well, if you do anything for me, anything at all for love of me, there's one thing you can do. You can give back the 7 sons of the 7 kings. Actually, there's a second thing you can do. Go away and leave me alone and stop bothering me. And because he'd sworn to do anything she asked, the Kelpie went back to that hall of his underneath the whirlpool. And on Samhain Eve, all the blind druid, he gathered up all of his magics and he cast them out at the wind in a great ritual full of fire and fury, full of shouting and tall fires and flames rising up, licking the heavens and coloured different colours. And to everyone's astonishment, and especially his, the 7 sons of the 7 kings came walking up out of the ocean. And all the druids said, Jesus, I didn't know I was that powerful. Oh my God, I better watch myself. That's serious magic. And under the waves, the Kelpie laughed. bitter laugh, for they'd never know the truth of his dark heart.
Right, so one more story before the end of the first half. And yeah, this is one of my favourite stories actually. Loads of versions of these stories, and this is a kind of combination, accumulation, many-lations of stories.
Amalgamation?
I mean,
Californication.
it's a bit of a California. So there was this lad up in the north of Ireland. Now we'd heard all the stories about the Kelpie in Scotland. His mother used to tell him stories about Manannán MacLear, the king of the sea, the god of the ocean. He loved the stories of the Tua de Danann, those godlike people that used to roam around these lands. Well, he loved more than anything to hear her telling him about the selkie. You see, he wasn't the usual type of kid. He had fierce dark hair, dark skin, dark penetrating eyes, and people used to think he was odd over in a corner all on his own, but he was reading or he was thinking about something deep and mystifying. He was better off on his own. Oftentimes he was just looking out at the sea, wondering what was staring back at him, because his mother used to tell him that when she was a young woman, she went and sang to the sea. And when she sang one day with a broken heart after a boy had left her all alone, she saw a splash in the water and a little head pop up, and she couldn't quite tell what it was, but just when she turned around, there was a big strong head of a man standing next to her. He had dark hair and dark skin and dark penetrating eyes, and she fell in love with him, and that's all she needed. And he had no father, but the love of his mother was all he needed, this fisherman. And he always treated the women in his life with the utmost respect. And he married and he was happy, and well, they had 2 kids, a girl and a boy, and they lived out in the wilds of Donegal. You know, the real wilds. One day the wife got sick and she didn't get better, and then she died. And now he was all alone. And so he went out to the sea, that place he'd always watch and wait and listen to. Well, he did like his mother, and he sang to the waves. And he cried a bit. He didn't know how many tears dropped down, maybe 1, maybe 2, maybe 3. And after a splash and a bit of a tail fin, he turned around and there was a girl. She was beautiful. He'd never seen the likes of her before, and she kind of danced a ring around him, and then he saw it on the floor. A seal skin cloak, a selkie cape. And he could have her, he knew, by his stories, if he just took this now. And so he held on to it and he put it behind his back, and he said, if I have this, does that mean you have to marry me? Come back and be a mother to my 2 children who desperately need a mother. Will you do that? She cast her eyes down and she said, I suppose I'll have to. Now, she came back to the house, and when she saw the kids, she woke up her eyes, and a smile crept into her face that he'd not seen. And he fell hopelessly in love with her, and he did everything he could to make her feel at home. And well, she made that home something like it was never before, and she cared for those kids, and she cleaned the place because it was a wreck. You know, your man didn't know what he was doing, but she cooked the nicest of meals, and well, after a while they were happier. It seemed that he was happy with her and she was happy with him. But when the moon was big and bright in the sky, she'd go outside she'd sing. She'd sing a sad, sad song, and well, he knew what that meant. It was the din and lament. And she sang to the waves and the sea, and it broke his heart to see her so sad, but he couldn't bear the thought of being without her, and so years passed by, and she was happy as twilight most of the time, until the kids were grown, and well, he saw her breaking her heart once more with the moon in the sky, and he went and he got that selkie cloak and he got that seal of skin, and he said, I can't do it anymore. If you want to go back to the sea, you should go, but maybe you'll have one last think of the kids. As he turned around to look at the house, he turned back and she was gone. And so he looked at the waves and he watched, and he might hope that he'd see a seal pop up. And every now and again he did, and he'd think it was the selkie. Now the kids grew up and the kids left home, and there's lots of different endings to this story. People say your man died all alone with a broken heart. Some people even say he drowned himself. What I heard from a fella told me that their kids went back. And they went back and they saw their old man up in the hill. And she was there with him. And she handed him a selkie skin. Right, go have a pint, and we'll be telling you a story in the second minute. It's 10 minutes. Thank you.
Nicht jedes Wort, aber nein, also manchmal so Wort, aber ich spricht sehr gut, ich stelle manchmal. Ich will ja zum Singen sagen. Könnt ihr auch einfach Geld haben. Eigentlich nicht, aber ja, natürlich. Ja. Was ist denn sonst noch außer die? Ist da noch anderes cooles Bier? Nimm ihn doch mit. Nimm dein Geld noch vorher raus. Hast du das Geld? Dein Geld ist ja richtig.